Hello again, everybody. This is Bobby Mills for theindependent.com with another Bobby Mills Independent Sports Talk Show. Have the same old crew, E-Dub here, Eric Williams, and of course Jim Langan over there. Behind the camera, Zach Mayhew. And we're here to talk about, well, it's that time of tournament time. Conference tournament time. A lot of the big upper class, and of course all the A ones are done, but Class B and some bigger Class C1 and their C2 schools. The biggest ones going on next week, starting the 23rd, will be the Centennial and the Central Conference. And of course they open up at individual sites. And Central Conference semifinals, I believe, are in Aurora, and the finals, and that'll be at the end of the week. And I think the Centennial Conference, they've just amended that where they only play the finals at Lincoln Christian, which is a little strange because I can see some bigger gyms now that Aquinas has them, but be that what it is. So let's talk about the Centennial Conference first. E-Dub's got the magic thing in there. We're going to let you tell us who plays who, because one big thing, I know Central Catholic has drawn Boys Town. This is boys, and I'm just going to put this next Tuesday, it's a 6 o'clock start. You doing that one, Jimmy, or not?
No, I'm not doing that tournament, I don't believe. I mean, I've kind of got a couple games I might do, depending on where they go and who plays who, right.
Boys Town coming in, if you're a basketball fan at all, and it might be ironic because Central Catholic's defense might hold this guy down, but you have Teddy Allen coming in for Boys Town, who is a West Virginia recruit. So he's a very good basketball player, and you don't get a chance to see a D1 hoops player very often, but I think he's dropping down 26 points a game, maybe. I guess you just let him score, but that would be an opportunity to see a very good basketball player if you're interested in that, because this kid, we don't have very many players in this state to get into Division I, and I kind of think it's a neat thing that a Boys Town kid would get a scholarship. There are not too many get scholarships, to play. I think is it Dominic Barrett that plays for the Denver Broncos? That's pretty cool.
Right.
So it's a pretty neat thing, but this kid can score. And so they'll play at Central Catholic. Who's in that side of the bracket for the group?
St. Cecilia on top.
That's the 1 seed, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Asher would be the first guy to tell you that they don't deserve the number 1 seed.
You know what, Jimmy? I saw that team play Kearney Catholic Saturday. You probably working.
Right.
Boy, was I impressed.
They're good.
They were a lot better than I thought.
Oh, they're good. They got a good basketball. They might be the best team in C2, but what I'm saying is, if Wahoo, Newman, and Columbus SCOTUS beat them head-to-head, and then SCOTUS is undefeated.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? But what happens, see, is St. Cecilia's C2, so every time they play up, they get additional points for playing up. If they seeded that the way it should be seeded, there's no doubt that St. Cecilia should be the 3 seed in that.
I see what you're talking
about. Yeah, I mean, but Kevin Nash would be the first guy to tell you that. I mean, people want things that are done that are fair. They want things to be fair when you do things. They don't want something to, some kind of a quizzical thing.
Yeah.
And plus, I mean, they got a good team, and that opening 2 games, but they didn't lost another game. So they've got 3 losses. They're going to be the number 1 seed over a team that's got 0 losses.
I know.
And they lost to them head-to-head.
It's
horrible, and it's too bad that we can't, we got to just, everybody wants to, we just got to take the numbers and do with what the numbers do. Well, the numbers don't make sense on this one. And that's too bad, because you're going to have Newman and SCOTUS playing possibly in the semis.
Yep.
And that's fine, but I mean, if St. Cecilia beat those 2, then hey, or split with them.
Yeah.
Even if they split with them, I have no problem with this. But this is incorrect, and I think everybody knows it.
But the way it's set up, I can see what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
And by the numbers don't play out on the court, and not in this case, but
well, they're C2C, so when they lose to them, they get additional points. That's fine if you're qualifying for a state tournament, but that's not what they're doing. We're trying to seed their tournament. And everybody should be equal in their tournament. And that's why they need to go with a 1-loss record in the conference tournament, which would be way more fair. Even though not everybody's played, it would be a lot fairer the way they're doing it. Boys Town, too, being a 6 seed, is that right? No, the 5 seed. Yeah, Boys Town's a 5 seed. So you've got Boys Town, who could get to the thing. They could beat GICC, and then Boys Town could beat St. Cecilia. And they're going, well, hey, so it's not like St. Cecilia just sitting there going, hey, this is great news.
No.
I mean, they go, it's not like it's an automatic look, because there's some conferences where every once in a while You'll have 3 great teams and it's it, and everybody knows it.
Yeah.
But this thing's good enough on any given day. A lot of people can knock somebody off.
Well, that's just it. I mean, you talk about SCOTUS and Newman maybe having to play each other in the semis, and you could just throw St. Cecilia in there too. I mean, I understand what you're saying about St. Cecilia, but three very good teams. Throw Boys Town in there as a good fourth as well, and GICC too. I mean, they can have some fight. I think you know, the semis are going to be very difficult no matter which side that you're going to be playing on. If, like St. Cecilia and all those teams win, now you could have that upset in there too, you know, possibility. But this is a pretty stiff tournament to be in, and I think it's a good step in going into districts.
Right, and it's nobody's fault. They've decided to use this formula.
Right.
I think everybody does, don't they? Which in this case,
Well, they do with wild card points. Yeah, they do with wild, but the trouble with it is when you have a tournament and you've got too many teams that are C1, because the majority of that conference is C1.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Well, you have a C2 school in there, which is fine, but they are going to get added points for playing up every time. They're going to get 2 points for every time they play somebody, and they shouldn't be getting those 2 points when they're seeding the conference tournament. You know, if that makes sense.
But see, back in the day, Jimmy, the worst thing that would be having a Bergen when they were good as #1 seed. They're D1, and then you'd have another team probably on that other side that. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
SCOTUS or Newman needs to be switched over to this side to play against St. Cecilia. That's I mean on the other side of the bracket, and SCOTUS and Newman not meeting the semi.
Oh, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's my point. Now, like I said, Kevin Ash would be the first guy to tell you that. But I'm sure when he got the seating and he looked at it, he goes, "Whoa, this is going to work out really good this year."
Yeah.
But the trouble of it is, let's say Boys Town, a team like Boys Town, they're the 5 seed. Let's say they're the best team.
Yeah.
So now everybody's trying to avoid them. I mean, there's always somebody that you try to avoid. Or there's a player that was hurt for 3 weeks. Look at Creighton. Okay, where's Creighton going to be seeded? Well, right now they'd be the #1 or #2 seed in the Big East. But you know they have right now. You're going, hey, I'll play these guys without that point guard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So, yeah.
But I was impressed with St. Cecilia. I didn't think they'd be that fluid. Boy, was
they're good. They are.
You've
really
seen them,
good.
obviously.
Yeah, I've seen. Well, they beat Grand Island Northwest pretty handily.
And then Northwest beats Adams Central.
No, see, that wasn't that big of a surprise to me.
Wasn't it to you?
I don't think the officiating will bring
helped out a lot.
Yeah, that's
Did you?
I ref that game. I did, and I'll tell you what. I also refereed the Lexington.
I
ref the Lexington, who's only got 2 wins.
But they're not.
Or
bad,
one. Well, what I'm saying is Adams Central really struggled with them. You know what I mean? And see, if you look at like there's some teams that play each other. Like Kearney Catholic girls beat North Platte St. Pat's by about 20 points, 30 points, and really dominated the game. It wouldn't matter who refereed the thing. And St. Pat's will never beat. St. Pat's will not beat Kearney Catholic's girls.
Oh no.
And St. Pat. I mean, there was just too much of a discrepancy between the 2 teams. And the Blue Hill boys. If you look at the Blue Hill boys, they played St. Cecilia, and the score at one time was like 47-7. You know, so I mean, there are some upsets, and you can kind of tell, boy, they're really going to struggle. But Grand Island Northwest, I'm going to tell you right now, they can play. They just don't shoot it very well.
No, they don't.
But if they do ever score, and you know they can rebound, they can play defense, and they can do the other thing. So sometimes you just don't score. So and if Adams Central doesn't score and they miss some shots early, Adams Central it was 6-4 at the quarter.
Yeah.
Then it was a great game. Then it was like 58-56. But both teams, if one of them would have took charge in the first quarter, they could have dominated the game.
I will say this about Northwest. I saw them early on in the season. I think I watched that game online. And it seemed like they knew where guys were going to be passing the ball. At least in that first half that I watched, it seemed like they were a little bit better. They're knowing where people are going to be, and they're buying into the system a little bit more now than they were at the beginning because they're still learning it at the time.
And they're healthier too. They're healthier. They've got a couple players at back that were hurt. You know, so if you get some of those players back and that were injured or hurt or sick or whatever the situation, they're playing with a different group of kids, and they're going to get better. You know, they're playing the Central 10. You know what I mean? And nothing against the Lou Platte conference because year in and year out that's a pretty good conference. But Adams Central's playing in 2 conferences. You know, they're playing some Lou Platte, they're playing some. And Adams Central, they go. We talked about this last week. They've got one player that really can shoot the ball well. And they kind of took him out of it a little bit that first quarter. Ooh. So some other players were going to have to step up and knock down some shots, and they almost did. They kind of had some ice cream scoops that just went out. But it was really a great game. It was a seesaw game that went back and forth with good strategy by both coaches. You know, I don't think anybody did anything wrong. It was just one of those games where somebody was going to lose. Kind of like that Elkhorn South McCook football game.
Yeah.
Somebody was going to lose that thing, you know, but no one did anything wrong. I'll guarantee you that whole second half, both teams competed very well.
Well, that's good to see. It just kind of surprised me a little bit, but Northwest does have potential. So, on the other side of that Centennial, I don't even know who SCOTUS plays. There's got to be a play-in game.
SCOTUS has got the winner of Aquinas and Lincoln Christian.
Okay.
So that would be the 7-10 seed right there. SCOTUS is the 2. Newman comes in at the 3, and they've got Lincoln Lutheran. So
who can be dangerous?
Yeah, Lincoln Lutheran can be dangerous, and so can, like you said, Boys Town. GICC can be dangerous.
Yeah,
at
exactly.
times,
I mean, you've got 1 through probably a good 6 right there that can, at any given time, can do some damage in that tournament.
Well, last year I think 6 of those schools made it to the state tournament, or at least were in the. They'd won their sub-district and were in the district final playing people, right?
We talked about this upstairs before the show. How do you think Kearney Catholic, either one of you, would fit into this conference? Geographically, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but you know, I don't know how tight these expenses are, but look at all the years Norfolk or Kearney had to go back and forth. It would be no difference for Kearney Catholic to go to Newman or Lincoln Christian, but boy, what a great fit that would be, I think.
You know, right now, Kearney Catholic boys are playing extremely well, but to say they would probably be a 4, 5, or 6 seed.
Oh, here.
You know what I mean? Yeah, in this deal. And especially, of course, you know, like I said, they lost to St. Cecilia, but St. Cecilia lost to Newman and SCOTUS, and St. Cecilia's the 1 seed. But so I'm throwing that out since they're C1, they would probably be a 4, 5, or 6 seed right in there. That's about where they fit in. They did beat GICC.
Yeah.
You know, they did beat them. And, you know, but, you know, they lost to a Boone Central team. You know, they lost to a Holdridge team. You know, and I'll tell you what, anytime you go up, you know, anytime, you know, C1 plays B, you know, and we talked about this a little bit, that the B schools, you know, can knock off a C1. It's very unlikely. It's very unlikely the other way around, where you're going to have a team that's 2-8 in C1 beat an 8-2 Class B school. But the other way around, it does happen, and that's why, you know, that's kind of like the horse races. That's why these 10,000 claimers are dropping down. These goes go up, and non-winners are 3, and here we go. Yeah.
Here we go, man. Yeah. And it's not far off.
Make a decision, yeah. You got to make a decision.
Not far off either, Jimmy. So, you know, and Newman is, well, you know, so it's a great tournament. And anybody could win that, but I'm going to go with Newman as a favorite. I'd like, or will Asher's boys get revenge? Newman's awful good. Wow.
The only thing would be is how does that Newman SCOTUS game
get
them? I mean, St. Cecilia's going to have a tough one with either Boys Town or GICC, but I do think that Newman SCOTUS could be a little bit more stiffer.
Yeah,
the recovery of that may be a factor in that championship game against whoever they play.
So so that's that tournament. Yeah, and there's 2 schools around here you could watch: St. Cecilia and GICC, and of course, it's worth the drive to Lincoln if you want to see the finals. But
how about that 3rd place game? I'd like to be in that game.
Boy,
you know, I mean, somebody's going to lose that SCOTUS Newman game. They're playing for 3rd. You know, let's say Boys Town upsets somebody, and maybe upset St. Cecilia, and St. Cecilia's going to be playing Newman for 3rd. That'd be you know. So yeah, you're looking at.
Even if like Central,
you might want to get there early.
Yeah,
you might want to get there early. Yeah, for tickets. Yeah.
Now, Jimmy, do you have the Central Conference deals there or not?
I don't think I do.
You don't?
I don't think I have.
How
the
about you?
Team.
Well, you give me some time. I can probably find it.
Now that tournament, that Aurora gym can handle everything that the Central Conference can bring for crowds. But as we talked last week, Aurora boys, to me, are a little bit above everybody else in Class B. And of course, as soon as I say that, guess what happens? But
well, York's got some key wins. York's high school got some key wins. Holdridge is playing at a level at times. You know, I mean, you know, Adams Central's played well. They shoot the ball well. You know, and Adams Central's, you know, like I said, Adams Central's that team I would, you know, boy, you better never count them out of the game because they can shoot it. And they can shoot the 3, and 3's add up real fast. You know, I saw a T-shirt the other day, and it says 3 is greater than 2. you know, basketball shirt. That's a pretty good one. You had the sign, you know, the mathematical sign, 2 is greater than 2.
Well, you get a bunch of 3s and you keep shooting 2s, you know what's going to happen. But who's in the play-in games? Well,
Northwest has got a tough draw. Northwest will have Schuyler to start out in the bunny bracket, and then the winner of that's going to go to the Aurora game. So that would be a tough order to go into that one. The other bunny bracket, Central City and Lakeview. Got to think probably Central City wins that one, and then goes on to play Adams Central. And Central City's a big team. They're physical. I don't know if they'd have enough to keep the perimeter shooting that Adams Central has. But
who's the 2 seed? Is Adams Central the 2 seed?
Adams Central is the 2 seed.
Who's the 3 seed?
York,
No.
and then they've got Seward. So in the 6, and then Holdridge and Crete ended up at the 4 and 5.
Sure.
What happened if you're Lamberty, Scott Lamberty, and you're York's coach? Seward is that's a rival. I mean, of course, wow. I would like to see York and Adams Central play, because that to me would be a contrast in styles. And then who's in that one right below Aurora? Did you say Crete?
Holdridge and Crete, yep.
And I think somebody just went out and beat Holdridge, not Crete though. I don't think, maybe Seward. I don't know. But anyway, that's a good regional matchup. Crete's got a good team at times.
Yeah.
You never know about York. Why did they do the 2 clunkers in their holiday tournament and come back and beat Gretna?
Of course, their holiday tournament was extremely
Oh.
tough. Somebody was going to get 4th in that holiday tournament, which was going to be a very good basketball team. That was the hardest. That was the toughest holiday tournament you could see around.
And St. Cecilia was in there.
Well, they got 2nd.
Yeah.
They're one to beat York. Then on New York's floor. So that was probably, to be honest with you, that's probably St. Cecilia's biggest win of the season right now.
I think you're probably right.
That was a huge win for them in that. But
Beatrice.
Beatrice.
The one that beat Holdridge that you were thinking of earlier.
Okay.
and see, Beatrice beat Kearney Catholic too earlier in the season. So
whatever. Yeah, Beatrice or Kearney Catholic's not afraid to play anybody, boys or girls, are they?
well, they have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, they're forced out of that conference. But Kearney Catholic's always played a pretty good schedule, and right now they're trying to find people that'll play them, and that is people like Holdridge. And you know what I'm saying, because of the Lou Platte, some of those people are honoring their contracts.
Yeah.
And some people are going to no longer play.
I know.
Now, you bring up a good point. You're talking about Kearney Catholic trying to find teams to play, and upstairs before we started filming, we were talking about Lincoln Pius and how right now they're 8-1, and we're at the end of January.
Yeah.
I mean, they just not finding anybody to play. They've only got 3 Class A games on their schedule, and there was a break in there from the Gretna holiday tournament until January 12th that they didn't play.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So, I mean, that's the exact opposite of what Kearney Catholic. They're, again, not in a conference,
Right.
but they're just not getting those teams to play like Kearney Catholic.
So
is.
Southern Eddyville Miller is 9-0, just to give you an idea.
Yeah.
They're 9-0, and they lost their holiday tournament because they played on that Friday,
Oh, isn't
Saturday,
that
that
terrible?
early one.
Yeah.
And it was an early holiday tournament, and they lost that. And then, if you had a game Tuesday, a lot of schools didn't play last night because of the weather, and they have rules. This is and I understand this as a high school administrator. I do understand what you're doing. You're trying to make it safe. But the weather changes in Nebraska quite a bit.
Oh, I know.
And on Monday night, it appeared to be a tremendous ice storm. And you don't want people out there driving on that. But what happened by 10 a.m., we're all going, whoa, look at this. The sun came out, hit the ice. This is about as safe to drive as, there's nights we've driven in dangerous weather than this, trying to get to a basketball game. But we have a policy that says if you don't have school, well, that's a great policy. But sometimes you write down things that things change
They did.
in a 12-hour period. And yesterday, to be honest, was it dangerous for you to drive?
Well,
no,
no.
it wasn't. So you
And
could have
honestly,
probably made it to a
at
game.
6 a.m. when I went into work, it wasn't that
It wasn't
bad.
that bad, but it was surprisingly, depending on where your sidewalk was, or where
That's
your,
true. Sidewalks were, roads probably weren't the
That's
worst.
exactly right. But it was one of those deals. It probably was a 10 a.m. start deal. But man, you're trying to do it safe, and you don't know, and you want to get parents information that have young children so they can get daycare situated.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not going to have school, so you're going to have to get care of your daycare. So you're helping those people out.
Yeah.
But you're kind of affecting some high school basketball games or some wrestling that could go on that night that would be very safe. Yeah.
So Jimmy, this is off the subject, but kind of on the subject. Is that a rule all over the state that if you don't have school, you can't play that?
Every school district makes
Okay.
their own decision. And let's be honest about it, the NCAA and the NFL, they play on those nights.
I know they do.
They do. They play. NFL, I mean, the NFL tried to make a good decision with the Chiefs. You can move a game around. I have no problem. Safety is very much, way more important. So if anybody out there that thinks I don't think safety is critical, I'm saying it. But you don't want to, I don't think it's right to have a policy. Yeah, we've got a policy that we can't play on these dates.
No.
I mean, and a lot of people have that on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
You can't play on a Wednesday. It's church night. And you know what? in Vegas, Las Vegas, they don't have church night like we do in Nebraska. They don't. They play on Wednesdays all the time. Hey, in Omaha, they play on Wednesdays.
They do.
In central Nebraska, it's kind of something we don't do. I'm not going to argue that. I'm just saying that's the way it is.
Lincoln does.
Yeah, so you have this. But guess what happens when the NSAA says, hey, we're going to have a state football game on a Wednesday? They find a way to play that game. If your team's in the semis.
Grand Island Senior High is playing basketball tonight.
Tonight. They
yeah,
go
there
to
you go.
Omaha.
It's Wednesday night here, too.
Right,
so
sure.
You know what I think would really be great would be if they played high school football games on Sunday. Now watch me get crucified.
No.
Ooh, you'd fill the stands there. But anyway, by the way, Kearney Catholic, I believe, plays Gretna in the Ralston Showcase thing this Saturday.
Okay, sure.
Wow. Now why can't? No, I'm not going to get into that. Why can't Pius do that?
Well,
I don't think they pursue it.
What's really interesting, you guys, this is really interesting.
Oh, this is serious.
Oh, no, it is. Gretna plays who? Kearney High.
Yeah.
And beat them. Now, Kearney Catholic's going to go play Gretna.
What happens if Kearney Catholic beats Gretna, Gretna beats Kearney High?
But you know what? How many times has Senior High in Grand Island played Central Catholic? How many times has Senior High played Northwest? How many times has Kearney Catholic played Kearney? There's some games that people Hastings High versus St. Cecilia. There's some games out there that it's just, they don't schedule for different reasons. You know what I mean? And you have this, a lot of people would like to see it, but it doesn't mean it's good for the community to have that game. Does that make sense?
What makes
it's
perfect
not good
sense.
for the community to be playing that game, and it's just the way it is. So,
But Wahoo, Newman, and Wahoo are different.
well, they're in kind of the same class,
But
you
when
know what
you
I mean?
go
But when you
down
go
to-
C1 to A, and then all of a sudden, I mean, let's be honest about it, Kearney Catholics have a lot of success in girls basketball right now. No matter who they play, they have a chance to win in any class, so.
Do you think there'd be as much adversity among people if a girls Class C1 team wanted to play a class? I don't think it would be as much as a boys.
I don't think it's that much right now, as long as there's the mileage involved and there's not so much, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not going to change this today, but I am saying this, I'd like to have the gate for the Kearney Catholic versus Kearney High game, or the gate for Senior High versus Central Catholic, or the gate, you're going to have some people show up for the game.
The only bad thing about that is there's nothing for the upper class to gain something like that. I mean, either like a Kearney versus Kearney Catholic. I mean, it's either Kearney's going to win and everyone's going to say, well, you should have won, or Kearney Catholic's going to win and everyone's going to be like, well, what's wrong with Kearney? The only bad thing about that is there's just nothing there for that upper class to really gain out of it.
And you're kind of interested in basketball. UNO does play Creighton.
Right.
UNO you get my point? UNO beat Iowa this year.
Yeah.
We can look at Northwestern. They lost a couple games to the MAC teams. So in college football, we do play that game.
Yeah.
Very seldom. I think the MAC's like 2-48 against the Big Ten, or maybe 4-50.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll tell you what.
It's because it's a lot of Toledo's playing Ohio State every year,
But you know what? When you look back, North Dakota State beat Iowa.
Right.
How did Nebraska do against Iowa this year? Okay, case closed.
But how? Yeah,
but those games that are played though, you're putting yourself, because Nebraska lost to who? Gardner Webb. Nebraska lost to Incarnate Word. And then they turned around and beat Maryland. So I don't know. To me, it's just a basketball game. Are you really? The parents, I guess sometimes maybe it's the competition among parents, about where they put their school, or you got kids that opted to that school and left that school, and I think that's one reason we avoid those things.
And I find that funny, because I remember going to volleyball back in about 5-6 years ago when all 3 Grand Island teams made it, and it just seemed like there wasn't the support around all the Grand Island teams, and I was wondering why that was, because it's not like you play each other, and it makes Central Nebraska look a lot better if all 3 of them are making it deeper and deeper into the tournament. I always found that funny, that there really isn't. No, I didn't.
If you're a big diehard Kansas fan, or a big Kansas State fan, you know who you cheer against? They're the team you want to lose the most. You know what I mean? I don't care if but I'll tell you what, the best days when Oklahoma loses, or the Dallas Cowboys, whatever. Some people are just haters.
Yeah, and then you go into the bowl season, though, and you're usually rooting for your conference. Now,
Yeah.
granted, I was rooting for Big Ten, except for maybe Michigan and Ohio State. But I mean, you root for your conference in that situation too. It just,
How about
it's
you?
funny.
Do you root for the? I kind of root for people that are close.
I do
to
too.
be honest
I
with
do
you.
too.
When I'm in Nebraska and I've refereed some people over here, I'm
Well,
kind
sure,
of
you're going to do that.
I'm kind of using for teams that I've refereed before and hope they have some success. You know.
But how big was Doug Woodard at Bellevue West years ago when he agreed to play that game with Ravenna?
At Bellevue.
Yeah.
I didn't see him come
Didn't
out
he?
here.
Yeah, no.
Hey, come to Ravenna and see how well he liked it.
Oh, yeah, well, you're right there.
Probably had to find it on the map
Yeah,
first.
yeah, right. Yeah, you know, but I do. I mean, he did take a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, he took a shot at it.
Never
You know,
scouted.
No.
Never scouted a bit. He
Yeah,
said.
is that what he said?
Yeah, he said I never scouted, and boy, he had to rush in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
to win that ball game.
but he wish he would have.
It's still a basketball game being talked about. I mean, it's still one of the greatest basketball
And
games.
friendships
in
been
recent.
established.
Yeah, but
and
you know, the thing of it is Ravenna was so ungodly good at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Wally Newman is really pretty good. I don't
Yeah.
know if you've seen him play or not, but they're going to play with a lot of Class A schools this year. And I mean, granted, look at Kearney High what they've done, and they went into Gretna and didn't play them very good that night. And that's one reason Gretna was ranked in the top.
That was a key
That was a
thing.
key game.
Yeah.
And now look, Aurora and some people, York. I mean, York has got 4 losses, but they've beaten Gretna, so it's kind of an interesting. Yeah, you can compare basketball games, but I'll tell you what, basketball is a game where if you shoot it pretty well, you can beat anybody on a given night.
Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Yeah. When Tino upstairs told me Tino could be downstairs. but
He's upstairs now, I think.
He said, I think Omaha South wants it. I'm trying to put Omaha South to play Aurora in the Hoops Classic. And I said, they'll never do it. Both agreed. I think that's a great thing. When I asked senior high if they'd ever play Ravenna, he said, are you crazy? What would we have to gain? That's just what you said. So I guess it's different than how you look at it. That, like you said, Doug Woodard had, I don't know.
I remember talking to a few people about that Omaha South and Aurora game.
Yeah.
And I brought it up early on in the year, how I think Aurora has a chance, and people kind of, laughed at me at it. And I don't know if people would be laughing at me now after the way Aurora's looked so far. Granted, they haven't played, that level, I guess, but it'll be interesting. It's going to be a better game than I think people thought of back in November and December.
Good for Bruce Chubbuck. Huh?
Well, here's another thing too. If you're confident, you've won a lot of games. Like Doug Woodard really is not looking out for his job.
No.
But you know what? You guys, I'm going to be honest about this. Most coaches are.
Well, they have to be.
Well, they haven't had that great success. Only about 10% of your coaches are really secure in their jobs.
Are you talking high school?
Yeah, I am. I'm talking. I'm ADs too.
Sure.
You schedule one of those things, and the AD's going, "Hey, what do you schedule that for?" That was, and you put everybody in a bad position because parents are upset, players are upset, coaches said, "We should never have lost that. Why did we schedule that? Why did we even play this game?" There's some things every once in a while you'll put yourself in a position where you take a chance, and you try to go ahead and play some people. I know we played Ord when I was the AD at SCM, and we played Ord in volleyball, and we played Wood River in volleyball. We played in Wood River Hall. I mean, their tournament we could have played GICC. We ended up playing O'Neill, and they beat us. And O'Neill was C1 and maybe had a losing record. Well, then we go into we ended up beating Sutton, but we did beat Ord that year. But we were 21-7. And Elba was 19-3. All right, Elba beat us in the sub-district final, and then they go to the district final. Elba loses, and we end up taking the wild card because we had all those C1 things.
Yeah,
and again, was it fair? Probably not. Elba proved on the court they were better than us that night. But our wild cards, because we played up. We got an advantage for having a pretty good thing. So as an AD, sometimes you can help your school out by doing some things like that and playing winners and going down. If you play down, you don't lose anything. So Ord didn't lose anything for playing a team that was a winning team in D2. But we could gain points by playing them. But I know the Ord AD now, they won't want to play SEM now. I mean, Ord's volleyball program's so good now, they didn't need that. But we needed them pretty bad. We both were open that day, So.
I just didn't know that it was like that at the high school level.
It can be. Look around. Look at the coaches in the area who lost their jobs.
I know.
Look around. Look at guys where they're there, but how many jobs did they lose?
I know.
I mean, just look at any school, and you can go, hey, that guy used to be. Well, he was over there. He's over there.
Over here,
Yeah. So because something happened somewhere, a lot of it was you lost the wrong time, or I mean.
I didn't realize that happened on the high
Oh,
school
it
level.
does, yeah.
And you would know because you've been in
Well, I think-
situations here.
Well, I can see it you see it all the time. It's too bad it's that way, but that's the reality. So sometimes it's better not to schedule somebody that puts that much pressure on you.
There you
to,
go.
to win. No one's going to lose their job to lose the Kearney Catholic girls.
No,
You
no,
know,
you're
you lost
right.
the Kearney Catholic. Well, okay, I think, you know, boy.
Do you have the girls' side on possibly for?
I probably could. You want to talk goldenrod real quick? Before
Hey, let's do talk goldenrod. The girls are playing as we
Goldenrod.
speak.
Okay, go ahead.
And the boys will play tomorrow night, I believe. Is that correct for the quarterfinals up at St. Paul?
Yeah, St. Paul tomorrow. Yep, and
No, semifinals.
Yeah, semifinal boys are
Semifinals.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Girls
and
are Friday.
it's Riverside and Burwell are in one side, and then it's also, I believe, Palmer and Humphrey St. Francis.
And who's the dark horse in there? Palmer.
Palmer would be. I think Burwell and Riverside's gonna be a great matchup.
Ooh.
9 days, 8 days right now. It'll be 9 when they play tomorrow. They played each other, and I think it was only a 10-point game, Riverside. So that's gonna be a good one. I think that starts at 6 at St. Paul, and then the other one will follow. And yeah, Palmer's gonna definitely be a dark horse in that deal, but. You know, if all the cards stack up, it's going to be a great final, I think, for that
And
one.
you've worked that, haven't you, at the Golden
Yeah,
Rod?
I've done that. It's a fun tournament. Hey, tell me this. How did Burwell do in the state football playoffs, guys, this year? What place did they get?
I believe they won.
How did Riverside do in the six-man championship?
Isn't that something?
Yeah, here you go. You got the six-man champion playing the
You talk about.
eight-man one champion. You know, talking about going up in class.
Oh, good grief.
You know, yeah. Riverside, yeah. I'll tell you what, Riverside could have competed in the eight-man one and eight-man two.
They
I'll
could
guarantee
have.
you,
Yep. But so that's a great lineup. The girls are playing tonight. And speaking of weather, the boys played their quarterfinals last night and came out all right. So, and that's a sad. I think the girls. I think the girls' final is Friday. Then
I think so.
I think the semis are Friday.
Are they?
I think so. And then they must have some finals and third. They must play 4 games.
Must play Saturday. Yeah.
4 games probably.
Okay.
So that's a good tournament there. That's a strong conference. Well, it's kind of a. You know,
Yes, it is. It's a really good. It's good all these conference tournaments aren't at the same time. The SPVA is going on right now too. St. Pat's, Hershey, and
How
that
many
group,
teams are in that conference, Jimmy?
There's 7.
Oh, is that right? Well,
Yeah,
there's a
7.
big conference down there with Waupun, Juanita Palisade. I swear there's like 16 teams, and I know that Lewis and Clark now has 16.
Yeah,
up there.
there's some that kind of interact. Yeah, you don't know what conference you're in. I know McCooksy's in the Southwest Conference now. They played in the GNAC, but they're in the Southwest Conference.
Good
They have
fit,
8
though.
teams. Yep.
Good fit.
Well, they're in the right proximity. The other one is there's 7. But here's what's interesting about this. It's Kimball and Bridgeport.
Why,
you know
that
where they're
doesn't
at?
even make any sense, does it?
Kimball and
Geographically?
Bridgeport. Well, I mean, yeah, anybody that's on the other side of North Platte think you just, what's the next town?
Yeah,
you're
right.
a little ways to drive. You're about halfway when you're to North Platte. You still get about, North Platte, I think you got 177 miles to get to Kimball, so.
Republican Plains.
What is that's it? There, look at the teams.
You got that split up in divisions.
You got to show the camera. That's incredible. All those teams playing each other. I mean, there's a game going on every hour. That's the RPV. Okay.
They don't get to have a 20-minute warm-up. You get 2-minute warm-ups. We're going to warm up outside. If you want to warm up outside.
Yeah, outdoors, folks.
Yeah, there you go. That wasn't funny. Go ahead.
Well, I know, but honestly, good. But so that do you back to the Central Conference girls anywhere near that? That's a crazy thing because that's a balanced field. I think Aurora's going to hopefully have a home game or home court advantage.
What is that? Where's Grand Island Northwest?
York is actually the #1 seed in that.
Where's Grand Island Northwest at?
Grand Island Northwest is ranked as the 3rd. Yeah, it's just right over there. Ranked 3rd, and they go against Crete. 2nd seed would be Seward.
Okay.
Aurora's clear down at the 5.
Holdridge.
Holdridge is 4.
Okay.
They have a couple. Have you officiated in? They have a couple of good girls, don't they?
Sure do.
So
And
Northwest
good
will,
coach.
Northwest will host Crete January 24th on Tuesday. So that'll be at 6 o'clock. So there's going to be some good conference there. But how about Aurora? That was a team that was the #1 seed in Class B going into the holiday tournaments, and now they're going into the conference tournament ranked or seeded 5th.
We talked about that too. That was incorrect. Remember?
Well,
No, I know.
maybe
Minden went over there and almost beat them, or beat them. You know, one of them was close, or I think we didn't beat them exactly. And we just kind of knew that, boy, by looking at that score, that probably wasn't going to last very good. You remember talking about that?
I remember that, and I think you're right about that, because several people went, well, what happened to Aurora's girls?
Nothing. It was just scheduled early. Yeah,
Well,
early.
they just struggled. I mean, when they lost, they struggled to put points on the board.
They did.
It wasn't really pretty.
I'll tell you a weird girls team at St. Cecilia, because they went over and they had Northwest down 18-11, and like with about 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, quit scoring.
I know.
And only scored 5 points. Got beat by Northwest. Northwest has proven a pretty good team anyway. Not but they go down to Kearney Catholic. St. Cecilia's girls do play them as well as anybody all year long. Anybody all year long. I think St. Cecilia girls, if they can just play, they don't have to play 12 minutes of good basketball. They don't have to play 20, you can play 16, 18, and just survive those other 14. I think they'll be okay. I think they're good. I think St. Cecilia girls, I was very impressed with them. And
that makes two of us.
Yeah, and I think, the Northwest guards are really good. They can make you look bad if you haven't got used to that pressure. And Norris could handle the ball, and Northwest could not get advantages with their point guard play. Yeah. Norris's could. Well, yeah. And so now it got into a half-court game, and that's why Norris beat. And they didn't have all their players there, Northwest.
In Northwest, they put a lot of pressure on the freshman, the Brown girl, of carrying the ball up a lot. So, I mean, she does a lot of stuff. She's very good at what she does, but she's only going to get better because she is a freshman. And she's going to be a good ball handler for him.
She's only 5'2". What can you?
Well, you got the Brown girl. Her sister plays at UNK, and that Brown family's always been involved in basketball. Okay, name some other girls in that Northwest team. Mayfield, her dad was a coach at Harvard.
And Holiday. Coached at
Wood River. Okay. Holiday. You got Holiday, and then who's the boys coach at Grand Island Northwest? I think he's got a daughter playing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So you talk about all the coaches' kids that are involved in basketball. They've been in a gym a few times. That group of Northwest girls. So, I at any given moment, that team would scare the hell out of me.
It would. Yeah. And you've got that little girl, that little 5'2" Brown girl that's dribbling 2 basketballs when she's in the 3rd grade when her sister's playing. But
well, she's good. I mean, and I'll tell you what, one thing about it when you're a freshman, when you play in December, you're not quite the same as you are in January.
No.
You get about January 20th compared to December 3rd. You really mature a little bit. You get a little confidence. And you know what? There's so many, you kind of find out what you can and can't do. You're not going to take it inside and start shooting it up against some 6'3" girl. You're going to go in there and you're going to get that girl to leave her feet and you're going to dish up. And she's smart. She's a smart player.
She's not afraid to put it up on the outside too.
No, that's right. They're fun. That's a fun team for me to referee.
It is very fun to watch.
Fun team for me to ref.
You hit the nail on the head about St. Cecilia getting better all the time when you made that reference to them. I saw what you meant Saturday.
Yeah, that team's going to get. Yeah, I'll tell you what. They're young. They've got some freshman girls that can play.
How about Coach Asher's daughter?
Yeah.
She came in and nailed a 3 that was really
well, and I'll tell you what, she can defend people. She's physical.
That's what my wife said.
She can defend. Your wife said that? Yeah.
She said, boy, she can guard, can't she? I think that's a great But anyway,
you know her mom and dad? I'll tell you what, if those 2 brothers that she had, I'll bet she figured out real quick how to get some stuff done there in the house.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
So who's your favorite in that tournament? Do you like York?
I tell you, I think it's probably going to be a chalk tournament. I think York and Seward will probably.
So would you think would Northwest meet York in those semis then?
No, Northwest would meet Seward in the semis there.
They're on that end.
But I think Northwest can give them a run, but I still would probably go with the chalk. I think York and Seward would probably be my final.
Yeah, and I'm not predicting. I'm going to be reffing some of that. I'm not going to predict any of that.
You know what I think you'll have some of that?
Some of that. I'll have some. I mean,
I've seen you over there on a Saturday.
Yeah, right. I've always worked that Saturday. Yeah.
Well, you're popular,
I don't know about that. But yeah.
So anyway, those are good tournaments. The Goldenrod we've gone over. I know that like the Eastern Midlands, Gretna, and all those Elkhorn South that's going on right now.
What's the Centennial girls too that we have?
Talk about that real quick.
Yeah, we got
Who's number 1 seed?
Bishop Newman's the number 1 seed, and then they'll.
What's their record? You know off the top.
I do not.
Okay, go ahead. Keep talking. Sorry.
Number 2 would be Lincoln Christian, and then they're going to have Lincoln Lutheran, and then it's SCOTUS and CC. Those two, they've never faced each other ever before.
No.
That St. Cecilia Bergen is the 4-5 matchup, and then Newman will have either Aquinas or Concordia. They got the bunny bracket side up there. So another good lineup too, I think. In that, I think the St. Cecilia Bergen is maybe not going to be. I think St. Cecilia would win that one and maybe run away with it. I wouldn't be surprised, I guess, out of that. SCOTUS CC, I don't know what you guys think of that matchup.
I don't know either. I think SCOTUS might be a little bit. Well, heck, that Central Catholic played them very well when I had that game over there. So
it will be at SCOTUS.
Don't listen to me. Did anybody recall whether St. Cecilia did well, the girls against SCOTUS or Newman earlier? I probably didn't, did they? I don't remember what happened in those games.
You just rant a little bit.
Because that was the first 2 games of the season. I assume the girls played as well as the boys, but and there goes, he's leaving again. The guy is leaving again.
I was going to sneeze. Sneeze, but
I'm
not going to. Now I'm going to get. I was going to sneeze.
I thought, here we go again.
I said,
we're losing control again. Or, no, he's.
I'm leaving in 3 minutes. He's just letting you know I got to go.
Yeah, post time in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
It's coming, Jeremy.
Most people don't do that, do they? Is that right or not?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They just get up and leave. What do you got going there? What are you taking so long?
No.
I wanted him, but it's okay though.
Why are you running that thing for anyway? Why just give it to somebody that can work it?
Hey, boy, you're looking at the wrong guy. I remember the last time he gave it to me. So, anyway.
Who's the coach here on that? Who named the coach on that team? Who's that assistant coach there at Waco Lutheran?
Yeah, when you.
About that one.
You know, like 60 years ago when you. Who's the assistant girls coach?
Frank Solich was one.
Okay, what was your question?
I wondered how they fared against the.
Who did St. Cecilia lose to the first 2 games?
Did they
St.
lose both?
Cecilia was Bishop Newman, but they beat SCOTUS. They went 1-1.
But what was the score of the SCOTUS game?
SCOTUS game was 38-36 with the W out of that, St. Cecilia.
There you go. So
Bishop
that's a 50-50
Bishop
game.
Newman was 68-27 loss.
Well,
what was it again?
68-27.
Okay, that tells you right now that Bishop with Newman, and while you're looking at that, you can see what Newman's record is. It'll tell you, unless you already got off the thing.
Well, so. I don't know if they've lost unless Lincoln Christian's beaten them. I don't know. And Christian, of course, has had some.
Bishop Newman has not lost.
That's what I thought. You win that bad. Can you imagine how bad they're 68-27?
But you know how that gets in girls' games. It gets so out of hand, and sometimes they can't even get it across.
41 points. That's a 40-point. That clock is running.
Yeah, and I've had guys say, 35. Anyway,
Oh, you got guys say 35.
Yeah, I think it's like football, but it isn't like football.
No, it's not.
So
that's
anyway,
why you get this.
Yeah, and if it goes back under, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. No. And I've had to get. So anyway, get out and see a tournament game, and remember, Aurora. There's no excuse for not driving over there. Besides, the ladies can see Jimmy Lang, and the Centennial Conference, of course, Central Catholic has a home game. The girls do not, I don't think. But if you lose in the first round, that means that you could have a home. You could still have a home game in a consolation game, which would mean another.
Would be my guess. Probably not, because Bergen is a 5 seed.
Okay.
So if either team lost up there, the girls would still be on the road that next game.
Okay. Now I understand if Central Catholic's boys, God forbid, would lose to Tino, they might host Lincoln Christian if they would lose. So there are games in those, the losers bracket. Some schools have it. What do you think of third place games?
Well,
the Centennial didn't used to do it. We don't need third place.
Well, I think right now, I mean, you're trying to get better, trying to get ready for the districts and stuff. Third place games are fine. You want to keep playing. I mean, just because you lost. Now, I know that there was time. I know one year I was coaching at Ravenna. We were 11-0 and got a kid sick with the flu. We were the 1 seed and got beat by the 4, and then we had to turn around and play. We ended up beating Adams Central, which was really weird because Adams Central was the 2 seed, and they got beat by the 3. So now we have to play, and we're down 30-14, but we did come back and win the game, and it was exciting to win. I'd have been really upset if we'd have lost, but we ended up.
I remember that. Yeah, honest to goodness, I do.
You really?
Yes,
yeah,
I do.
We ended up 19-2.
It was 30-14.
Yeah.
At one time.
And we ended up winning the game, but and we just shot threes. We just fired threes, then winning.
Hey,
but I mean, we had our post player was sick. And he was really important to us to guard the basket. He's 6'7" kid inside that. But anyway, to make a long story short, if you're trying to get better for the season, you don't want to play on Monday and get beat, not play again until the following Friday. Sometimes and sometimes that's what you were out 10 days and it just killed you. You know what I mean? And so you want to avoid that if you can. And that's why there's some this Kimball. Bridgeport and that group, what they do, they play all the way out.
You should.
They play, and when they used to have 8 teams in there, they'd play for 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
But now what they do, it's a little different. They play, they basically play for 5th and 6th.
But still,
and then the 7th place team got to play somebody that also lost, you know, so they get in there and give them one more game. So, yeah.
You go a long time, we get eliminated the first round, like you say, it could be 10 days. That's not good.
Right.
We're deep into the season now. So anyway, we didn't get to talk about the girls. We're going to hit that up, not much, but we'll hit that up next week. It's getting close. Well, I believe Tino said, what, February 11th might be? Zach, did you hear that?
February 11th is a Saturday, so it's February 13th is a Monday.
Yeah, and that would be when...
That's D1, D2, C1, and C2 girls sub-district bunny bracket games will be that day. Then they'll play their semis on Tuesday, sub-district final Thursday.
Yeah.
And then they'll play the following Friday for their district finals.
And that's, I mean, this is January 18th when we're recording this. That's not that far away.
No, it really isn't.
So,
there's a lot of basketball games for a lot of referees, though, to do between there. You have to stay, I hope, hopefully some of us can stay healthy.
You're going to be in shape, Jim, when this is all done.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, anyway, so next week we'll talk a little how the sub-districts are shaping up, both boys and girls, and we'll have some, well, we won't have finals of those
we'll have a couple more coming up that we can talk about too. You know? Fort Kearney coming up, and
ooh boy, I'm going to go to that tournament this year.
Which one? Fort
Kearney. I'm not going to miss that.
I'll tell you what, the semifinal boys will be very exciting.
Elm Creek is good.
And Elm Creek will be probably the 3 seed, probably.
Oh, that's because Amherst is in there.
Amherst and SCM will be 1 and 2.
Yeah, they will be.
In fact, SCM will be the 1 seed. Amherst will be the 2 seed. And it looks like Elm Creek will be the 3, but they lost to Wilcox-Hildreth.
Oh,
and Overton could be in there too. There's some games but Overton's got a shot, and those will be your top 5 seeds. You know, those 5 in the Fort Kearney Conference. And the girls, Axtell and Elm Creek, are very good. Those 2 teams played a really good game against each other, and the fans that went to that game and got to have a really good enjoyment because they didn't play like from a 1 to 10. They didn't play their 5 or 6. They played about 7, 8, or 9. They played really well, and a very entertaining game.
When you have a boy-girl doubleheader like I saw Saturday with St. Cecilia and Kearney Catholic, what a joy, man!
Was it packed? Was that place packed?
No. I was disappointed. It was not packed. And half the people left before the boys' game. I think they went to church is what happened. But because they
really?
Well, a lot of them went over and went to church.
All right.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
Jim?
that's what they should do.
I was going to mention something about
when
we played a dance, one time. But
my job is to talk about basketball here, and we're not going to get really too far involved. We already did. We were going to play football games on Sunday. We're going to get, and I said something about maybe we shouldn't cancel school ever and just play basketball games. You know,
talking about Vegas games on Wednesday.
We're in deep trouble.
We won't be back next week.
This
we're
will
all
be the last show. Yeah,
it'll all be canned.
There we go.
But anyway, we covered a lot of stuff tonight, and next week we'll be back and talk at some tournaments and how they're going, and some new tournaments coming up, and take a little tour through the sub-district lineup. And boy, that Elm Creek, those teams you were talking about, they are in the same districts that are going to have to play each other's subs. Right. Loaded to the gills. So we'll go over all that. So for Zach Mayhew behind the camera, has been very patient. Hadn't said a word. He's got a hot date, I think. I don't. But Jimmy does, you don't. Well, how do I know that? Anyway, we'll be back next week to talk all this stuff. So for Jim Langan on my left, you're right. E-Dub, Eric Williams, Zach May behind the camera, Aaron Martinez, Blair back in the corner, and Tina Martinez upstairs. This is Bobby Mills for the Bobby Mills Independent Sports Talk, theindependent.com. We'll see you next week.